Hello everyone, I'm Joel. If you saw my last video, then you saw that I finally tackled my interior restoration. My E30 finally feels like a car that's comfortable to drive in and not just a ratty roach. But on the first drive, I drove it to a car show, and on the way home from the car show, I was on 3 hours of sleep. I worked on the interior for 18 hours the day before. I completely forgot to record any of it because I was just shot. I looked down at my oil pressure sensor as I'm driving, a goose egg. 0 PSI oil pressure while I'm driving. So I immediately keyed off, coasted to a parking lot, and then got it towed here. And I have not done anything to it since. I said, yo, I'm gonna clean the shop before I disassemble this engine. I gotta take the engine out. This is just, I drove the car with 0 oil pressure, so I have to take the engine out regardless. So let's just get right into it. I finally got this back area where I rebuilt the engine the first time, all cleaned up, moved the parts washer over to here, and I love this setup now. I get to just rebuild the engine, parts washer. This thing was the GOAT last time I rebuilt my engine. This is a parts washer from Harbor Freight, and I'm using PSC 1000 from Tractor Supply. 10 gallons, it was about $100 for this fluid, but it was worth every penny. This is the strongest degreaser I've ever used, and it works very well. It's gonna be the MVP for this rebuild again. I'm keeping my fingers crossed this whole time. I'm praying that the pistons, rods, crank, everything is reusable. Since I caught it kind of early, I guess, I did start to hear the clicking, which is why I looked down and saw 0 pressure, but it didn't seize the engine up. That's what I'm hoping for.
So I kept y'all waiting.
All original trans and motor, bro. Pause. That sounded crazy.
Oh my God, it's so oily.
I was about to say, is there supposed to be oil in there?
No. Oh God. A view that I rarely ever see. A nice front shot. Damn. The hood release. I guess the headlights do have to come out. Actually, I could probably just keep that in there, just don't tilt it back. Just like that. That is why I absolutely love that removable core support. Now this engine is out in no time. Well, well, well. It looks like I found the vibration. 3 of the Grebo bolts, these 3 connecting to the transmission, are loose. So that definitely explains, wait, only 2 of them are loose. But still, that explains why that vibration was getting worse. So yeah, I don't think it was the engine that was actually vibrating that bad. Dude. Oh, the transmission weight is on there. Now with the jack under the transmission. It's definitely dark, but this is a magnetic drain plug and there's nothing on there. Yeah, the oil looks pretty good. It's dark, but I don't really see any metal flakes. It's definitely got too much weight on the turbo side, I think. I've never tried to take it out with the turbo still on, but I'm gonna try. Oh, okay, yeah, the turbo's sitting on the wheel well. Yeah, let me get that off of there. I guess he loved me. I had to take the engine mount arm off of the passenger side for it to loosen up off of the engine mount. The stud was too stuck in there. Letting it all drain out. There is some coolant right here. I better make sure that these clutches don't touch this coolant on the floor. Twin disc is off. Now comes the moment of truth. Crossing my fingers. There better be something wrong in here. Here it is. Oh no. Oh no, there's definitely an issue. Holy fuck. No way. What the fuck? The spring came out on my pressure relief valve. That is so AIDS. Where is that shit? In the oil pan. Bro, come on, bro. There it is. This literally only happened because I started inventing. I don't know. I heard the snap ring clip on when I put it in. So I don't know why it popped out. That's so unfortunate. I've never seen this happen before. I was thinking maybe it was these bolts right here that came loose, but everything looks to be in good condition except for that. I am very, very relieved that there is an obvious issue though, because over anything, trying to diagnose something that there's not an obvious issue, that's the worst. Oh God. Yeah, there it is. I got all the bearings out, and this is the opposite of what I thought would happen. I thought number 6 would be the one most worn out, which is all the way to the left. But number 1 is looking like the one that's most worn out. The closest one to the oil pump, which is very weird. I don't know how that works. But this is why I took the engine out, because I need to do new bearings. And if the rod bearings look like this, the crank bearings have to look like this. So, gotta tear this all down. Damn, that thermostat is tight. Why is it on there so damn hard? Damn. This seal is holding this in so tight. That's crazy. Ooh. Oh shit, what is this? Some RTV. Interesting. Maybe I used a little bit too much RTV on this front timing cover right here. Under the head gasket. Nice. Ooh, I do not want to crack this. It's so on there, holy shit! That's how you know it was sealing well. There it is. It's nice and evenly. Woo! There it is. This valve cover seal was working. Always zip tie it. Always gotta go super slow taking camshafts off. Quarter turn at a time. Because I have broken one of these, tightening them up in the torque pattern of a head, like an idiot, instead of just slowly but surely. They shooting! Aw, made you look. What? That was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. Wow. Wowza. Yo, if it wasn't for that torque test channel on YouTube, then I would not have known the longer you hold the end pack, the more torque it gives. That's just how it works. And that is a perfect example of that. Nice. This crank scraper can get removed. This scrapes all the oil off of the crankshaft. This is what some racing guys use, and this engine came with this. Oh, are these gonna come out willingly? It's looking like it. Oh, yes, nice. My main bearings don't look too bad. So it says 1, 2, 3. And there's only one way for this to go to match the notch on the bottom, so there's really no way to get these in backwards. Nice. The main bearings don't even look to be in that bad of condition. The rod bearings though definitely look like they took the brunt of the damage. Like here, this is the worst cylinder for the rods. It's so hard to see with this glare. So that front main bearing is the most damaged one. All the rest of them got somewhere, but not anywhere near as much as those rod bearings. I'm still gonna come in and replace all the bearings though, main and rod. These little squirters under the main bearings are what I believe was causing me to have 4 psi oil pressure when it was hot. Hopefully replacing these now. They're a one-way check valve with a spring inside of them. I've never replaced them. Hopefully now replacing them, I will have rock solid oil pressure at idle. I didn't know if I wanted to take the pistons out, but while I'm here, I might as well have to take everything out and fully clean it all up since I am rebuilding the engine. So eagle towards the front. Let me take a picture. I do remember saying that when I was building the engine as well, eagle towards the front. I need such an uncomfortable push to get those rings out. There it is. These things are gonna go into the trash, yo. I have no idea how many miles these have, but we're getting brand new ones. No way. I don't have a brand new one with me right now, but this doesn't take any pressure at all to push this down. This is supposed to hold 20 psi at idle, and it's not holding even 1 pound of pressure. No way. Yeah, I think this is definitely gonna fix my low oil pressure issue. This is a pile of all the gaskets that make up the engine. Since I rebuilt the engine not too long ago, everything that's rubber was so stuck on there, and it's very difficult to get off, which is a good sign because that means the engine was sealing, and I want that to happen again. So I'm kind of nervous to reuse this stuff just because I feel like I'm gonna reuse it thinking that, oh, it was good, and then it's gonna leak. So I'm replacing everything. Even though it wasn't that long ago that I rebuilt this engine, probably around like 5,000 miles, doesn't matter. If it's a new engine, it needs new everything. All cleaned up with just a little bit of parts washer. Thankfully, I don't have to go so hard on everything because I did just do all this. The first time I cleaned everything, it was very time consuming to get all the crust off. I was twisting the second ring around and it feels kind of like it's binded up and crusted. So this is a good thing that I'm going to come in and clean this because I want to make sure these rings are nice and loose so they don't get caught and break. Ring number 1. Dude, this ring is like bent. Why is it sitting like this? It keeps wanting to twist. Come on. Holy shit. First ring, second ring. There you go. Now I can clean everything separately, put it all back together so that I don't mix match any pistons and rings. I'm gonna give that same cleanup job to the remaining 5 pistons. There it is. I'm gonna let everything sit like this overnight to completely dry out, because when it's dried out, it looks like this. All pasty, no oil at all. This is why I'm saying that this degreaser is the best that I've used. It's so clean after it dries off, and everything is perfect for reassembly. The top of the piston's cleaned up so well. I really cannot say better things about this degreaser. I turned the light off above me because I was hearing a high frequency hum. And I can't tell if it's gone or not. I don't know. I think on video it's going to be more noticeable. That's it. That's how you take the lifter apart. When it's very stuck on there, you gotta make sure you twist real good while you pull, and it'll eventually come apart. There it is, nice and springy again. And these lifters do go in completely dry because they're hydraulic with one-way check valves. They will take up the amount of oil they need to take up the clearance. You do not want it to be overfilled. So I just let them bleed themselves. Please have no damage in here. I just want this shaft. Yes, it looks to be in good condition. Yes! No way, I found the C-clip. It's inside the oil pickup tube. Yes, let's go. Dude, that is such a good find. And that, oh, look how deformed it is. What the hell? This is definitely why I lost the oil pressure. Look at how deformed that C-clip got. It is a very good day. If you know, that is the part number for a brand new oil pump. Let's go. Brand new, genuine BMW oil pump for my baby. Finally. I've been slacking off, not doing this, but I'm over it. I also got these oil squirters. I thought that there would be a lot more resistance within the spring inside of that, but it's actually not that tight. This is the brand new one. I can still push it in, but it has way more bounce back than the other one. I thought that it was going to be so difficult to push in that I wouldn't be able to by hand, but yeah, this one's a lot springier. An old one now. Oh no, that's completely failed. It's not coming back at all. Okay, yes, this makes sense then. It's not coming back at all. Yeah, I am so glad to finally be doing this, because last time when I had the engine fully rebuilt, a few of you commented, yo, why didn't you change the oil squirters? And I was like, damn. I would have had to get it back down to like this after having just built it to change those squirters. I said I'd rather not. Finally, since then, I can not have this be in the back of my mind while I'm driving this car. This is a brand new sprocket that runs the timing chain and the oil chain. Some people on the Facebook group said, if you want zero slack in your oil pump, get a brand new one of these. Because if you get a new chain and a new oil pump gear, if this is still the old one, it's gonna have some slop. And the reason why I am doing this is because I don't want to do a oil pump chain tensioner, because then that's going to put a lot of pressure somewhere where the engine wasn't initially intending there to be a lot of pressure. And I feel like that could be a point of failure. So I'm just replacing the stuff with new and sending it from there. We should be good with this. A brand new late model M52 oil pump. So it comes with the E36 pickup tube because this is for an E36. But the reason why I got the late model E36 one is because the Vanos oil pump has a bigger volumetric flow or something along those lines. This whole setup is just bigger, so it allows more oil to flow. And it's bigger because of the Vanos. Damn, look at that. Let's go. Lastly, I did get a new Vanos chain tensioner because as you can see, there's some good wear marks on that guide right there. There are some chunks of plastic missing where the chain rides on. So right when I saw that, I was like, ain't no way I'm putting that back in the engine because that's gonna be a failure real soon. I don't know why I only just now realized that when you're rebuilding an engine, you really gotta go in and inspect absolutely everything. Like on these two lifters, there are some pits around the side that just made me a little bit uncomfortable. So I was like, whatever, let me just buy 2 new lifters. Doesn't cost much. And I'm here already, $11 each. Let me just replace them. These brand new lifters come pre-filled with oil, and I don't like that for the reasons I mentioned. I want the engine to accommodate exactly how much gap there is between the valve and the lifter, not pre-fill it so that it can't do that. So I'm gonna pop this out, drain it out, clean it, and install it dry. Look at that, filled with oil. I'm not gonna fully degrease it since there is clean oil, but I'm gonna bang as much oil out as possible. Much better. This never gets easy. This looks like it's gonna fly this way. Dude. Holy shit, that scared me so bad. Nice. Let's go. Now I'm gonna change this shaft over to my upgraded shaft. Stock, it has this stud right here, and this aftermarket one that I have converts it to this bolt. There's like some kind of grease in here, but I think I would rather clean it and then add my own pre-lube than do this. This is gonna be a huge pop, I think. Dude, still? Oh my God, no way, it's still not popping. Holy shit! That was an insane amount of force. Woo! Now that the oil pump is fully degreased, some assembly lube. That should be ready to go. I am gonna put just a little drop of blue Loctite because of what my friend told me with his S54. Just a little bit. Every 10mm bolt on the whole engine gets torqued to 10 Newton meters. Added such a thin layer of grease on the inside. Now with everything 100% clean, I can drop in the plastic gauge just so I can make sure that everything is all good. If you guys want to see a full in detail build of this whole engine, I have made a 2-hour long video when I previously rebuilt this engine of going through and doing everything that I'm doing right now. But that video is linked at the top right of your screen if you're interested. The Plastic gauge is between 15 thousandths and 20 thousandths across all 7 of them. So they're within spec. Now I can just clean all this off and get this fully installed with some assembly lube. New tech has been unlocked. This plastic scraper is so good at removing that initial layer off. Coming in after with some oil on a rag to clean the rest up. That is definitely the move. That was so much quicker than it normally is. Yo, it always is something. Always. This was supposed to be a real quick, get the engine back together, because in 5 days I'm supposed to drive to Helen, Georgia in the E30. That's looking a lot less likely now because I broke my piston ring. So the piston ring number 2 on the first piston was a little bit twisted. It was sitting basically kind of exactly like that, twisted, and when I put it onto the piston, it wasn't wanting to move. It was binding up. So I said, let me just throw it in the vise real quick, very lightly, give it some pressure along the whole ring so that I can see if it can straighten back out again. And as you can tell, there's a nice crack in that ring now. Absolutely totaled the ring because of one tiny overlook. Like 2 weeks ago, I saw that this little hex head was loose on my vise, and I was like, oh, whatever. It's not that big of a deal, is what I said. Of course, now it's a big deal because when I put the ring in there, that little bit of protrusion snapped it with no force. I was going so light and immediately it just pop broke. So that was on Saturday. It is now Monday. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get a set of rings overnighted and get this engine put back together and into the car and tested before driving 2,500 miles round trip. This just really put a nice brick in my path. I was nervous that I was gonna have to re-hone the whole engine because of that one broken piston ring, but honestly, just replace that one ring and send it from there. That's what it's looking like. Now I'm gonna speed run and get all these rings back together onto the piston so that if another ring is binding up inside of the piston, I can order more rings rather than order one set and then have to order another one after, which that's like the biggest thing when you're building something, making sure you have the right parts for when you need it. The slinky oil ring goes in first. Oil rings are in. Yeah, so it was looking like just that first ring was the twisted one, which is so weird. I don't know why that happened. And it was like that when I took it off the piston too, so. There we go. That is how the second piston ring should be. Yeah, so maybe it's a good thing that that ring broke because I don't know if I would have replaced it if it didn't. And then on the top of the first ring, there's an N marking up. And the second ring has a notch that goes down. It's very noticeable which ring goes where. That is how the ring should be. Yeah, it was definitely not this smooth before that ring broke. You go towards the front. Holy shit. Nah, no way. Come on. Dude, what the fuck? Only the oil ring is getting in. This is definitely how that second ring bent. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So I'm gonna get a new fucking ring compressor. This thing is shot. I've used it too many times, I think. And it's all baconed at the bottom and twisted up. I think this thing just needs to go in the trash. The pack of new rings has arrived, and I only need this second ring. I have spares now for any weird reason. Tap in. Yes! Yes! Whoever commented that in my engine rebuild video, you're a legend. You tap the top of the piston a little bit to break that seal, and then you push down. When I was rebuilding my engine, I was just trying to push it down, and it would get so stuck, and it was so hard, and I was trying not to mash it too hard, but that was definitely a lot better. I don't think. Damn it. Nice. Yes. Ooh. Good thing I caught myself and I forgot to turn the crankshaft over. It's gonna go straight into the crank if I did that. There's so many little details when you're building an engine. When the crank lobe is all the way at the top, you want to move it so that it doesn't hit that on the way in. Yes! Yes! The plastic gauge is in place, and I'm only gonna do the two that aligns with the crankshaft that's at the top. And then I'll rotate it and do these two and then do these two. 43 foot-pounds. Nice and consistent between the two of them. It's right at 0.0015. 15 thousandths, both of them. So I'm sure all of them are gonna be the same, but I'm still gonna check them all. Now that the plastic gauge is fully done on these two, I can just fully install these now so that they're not in the way. These ARP bolts do like to have ARP fastening lube to make sure that the torque spec is consistent. So on the final torque down, that's what I'm applying. 15 thousandths on both of them. $15 thousandths. 15 thousandths. All the bearings are reading exactly the same to each other, which is good. There we go. All the bearings have perfect tolerance within spec, all lubed up, no noises, nothing weird happening. We're good to go. I redid the safety wire because I didn't like the knot that it had right here, and this is definitely my favorite way that I've done it so far. Brand new oil pump chain. So with the brand new oil pump chain, new gear, and the new sprocket on the crank, and since I got all that new is why I'm not putting a tensioner in here, because if there was a tensioner, that gives it something to fail. I want to keep it as simple as possible, because if that chain tensioner in the oil pump breaks after having installed it, I would be so upset, especially how I just went in to change this and it broke because I touched it. Oil pump is fully installed. This is the amount of play that the chain has. I think it feels pretty good. I'm pretty sure I installed all these seals with no oil last time. I do not remember that being that hard to get on there, but It looks to be like it's fully in. No issues. Get some oil on that timing chain. On those metal gaskets, I always make sure it's 100% clean on the mating surface, or else it probably won't seal well. Goodness. When you're working alone, sometimes you just gotta figure it out. I put a head stud in to hold that chain up, and now it should be good to go. There it is, nice. There we go. I did not want to paint this block, but way more paint chipped off when I hit it with the spray gun than I expected. So I'm gonna have to get some paint on here. I definitely should have done this before putting the pistons in, but I didn't think that this was gonna flake off so hard. Whatever though. I'm coming in now and giving a fresh coat of paint on this. Coming in with some degreaser. Last time I just sprayed the engine enamel paint straight on, but I'm gonna use some primer this time. Hopefully stop it from flaking. Nice and light. Using the same philosophy that I used when I painted the interior. Be super light on it to get good coverage on it. Damn, that looks so much better. Okay, I'm gonna let that primer dry for half an hour. Primer dried for like 15 minutes, so I'm gonna spray some of this on it now. Here's the third and final coat. Be very light on it for the first coat so that the other coats can grab onto that light first coat. All done with the clear coat now, and it does look 1,000 times better. I'm very glad that I did this. I don't think I got all the rusty metal off last time because I don't remember it looking this clean. And I don't think I put the clear coat on after. So I used the heat gun to heat it up because it said for the ceramics in the clear to be fully chemical resistant, you gotta bake it at 200 degrees for an hour. So I just hit it for 10 minutes, and hopefully this lasts a lot longer than that other paint job. Since I saw chunks of RTV behind my water pump, I'm gonna go even lighter with this RTV. Just barely put any on there. Since the head does get so tight, it really does not need a lot. There we go. While that tacks up now, I can spray the copper spray onto the copper gasket and lay that on. And this RTV says to assemble immediately, but let sit for an hour before tightening to torque. I have seen a post on a Facebook forum that someone broke an ARP head stud. And then I also heard that you need to back it out like a half turn from when it's tight so that it's loose, which I've never done that. I've always put it hand tight and then tightened it a little bit, but I'm gonna try something new this time. Shit. Oh, my timing chain is under the guide. This zip tie is caught behind the guide. This is just fucking pussy ass zip tie, bro. Dude, why is this such a bitch, bro? God damn, bro. That was ridiculous. 35 foot-pounds. I'm gonna be tightening it over 3 days because the whole gasket and the copper spacer is compressing, and I want to allow it time to actually compress. So today I'm gonna torque that down like 3 more times within the span of like 2 hours. Front timing cover bolts, 10 Newton meters. $20 Newton meters. The gasket is on and all oiled up. 25 Newton meters. Beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and hit this whole pipe with a wire brush on a drill so that I can recoat this up. There we go. All wire wheeled and degreased in the parts washer. This thing is ready for a top coat. This is the product I'm gonna be using. I think it's actually mind-blowing how far this stuff goes because you see how little I put into there? That's gonna be more than enough for what I'm doing today. This is apply 2 coats immediately after each other. Torque gun at 3. I'm just gonna let this eat. That has to go to like 300 or 400 foot-pounds. Since this is an OBD2 M50, this is a Euro Z3 crank sensor. Since there is no hole on the side of the block where the OBD2 has this crank position sensor, so this is the only way I'm able to get an OBD2 M50. Since these bolts are spinning, I am gonna put some blue Loctite on that. Now I got the engine turned over to how it's gonna sit so that I can put this thermostat in. I drilled a little hole at the top of the thermostat so that it allows air to come out easier while I'm bleeding it. Oh my God, that is so tight. I'm scared about this one. That feels so over tightened. Nice. Let's go.
No, hold on.
Dude, what the fuck is this going on? That same thing happened with this head bolt, and I'm scared that when I go to retighten it, it's not gonna actually hit 85 foot-pounds, because it was just doing this. It's going down in torque. What the f? This is one of those instances where I wish that I could just overlook this, but I can't. This car pushes way too much power for me to let any little weakness get overlooked. Even in general, even if it wasn't making this much power, I still would feel like this would come back to bite me in the ass, and I don't want to put an engine together with any of those. The reason why I'm building it now is so I don't have to think about not one thing. If I have to think about one more thing, defeats the purpose. If you, deep down you know that what you're doing is wrong and you should go back and fix it, but you really don't want to go back and fix it, go back and fix it. You are not going to be mad at yourself for doing it. You're only going to feel so much better about it just because you did not want to do it and it got done. Yeah, this one was so much tighter. Could this just be threaded out or something? This double nut technique to get these studs out. Oh God, no! It pulled the threads right out of the cam tray. I've never seen that before. I've always gone to the 11 foot-pounds that it takes, but I guess it is just aluminum. Wait, I have to take this cam out. I just realized these studs come through the cam trays. That's stripped in the head. So I'm going in and wiggling these studs around, and this one is loose. So I think the same thing is gonna happen to this one as well. Dude, this head is cooked. Okay, so this is the head stud that I believe is pulling the threads out of the block. Let's see. If I can't get this one to click, the head is coming off. Oh. Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna put a helicoil in here. I gotta find the size thread that is. Here's a good tip for you guys. I used to think that you couldn't tighten the head bolts with the camshafts in, but the engine has to be at top dead center for this short socket to go in. If it's a long socket, it doesn't have the room to articulate to get to the stud. And this is a 12-point socket because of the ARP nuts. Good to go. I'm like 99% sure that this is why that other one stripped. And it's tightening up. So this thread was only partially activating in the head. And look, now it's way more solid. It's gonna hold a lot more torque like that, I think. So I'm gonna go in and tighten all of these now. On the head bolts, it says to back them out a little bit, but I think the only reason you back them out is when you're going very high torque. These studs don't see a lot of torque, so I'm just gonna get them somewhat snug in the head. Not too tight, just hand tight basically. Yeah, like what? All of these are taking a lot more turns. Dude, what? This might make it really difficult to get the cams on now because threads barely show when these are bottomed out. They all consistently took the same amount of turns in, which makes me believe that maybe that was on purpose that they were all backed out a little. But it is weird because I see threads at the bottom of the stripped hole, so clearly there was not enough thread initiation. I'm gonna measure the depth of this hole so that I can tape off the drill bit and know exactly how deep I can go. 20.4 millimeters. This drill bit is only going to catch on to the remaining threads at the bottom. That's why it's going in so deeply to begin with. Right about there. Just clean those threads up so I could take that new insert. I don't want metal flakes going anywhere. God damn. We'll put a drop of assembly lube so that this tap can go in nice and smoothly. Now I really have to keep this as straight as possible. Once you get the tap started, you gotta look at it from all angles to make sure that it's really straight. In one of my videos, someone also commented if you use a 12-point socket, it fits the tap in there. You're also a legend for that. Just gotta make sure it's dead straight. Shit, if this isn't straight, the cam tray isn't gonna go on. Oh God. So I've had this happen before where I tried installing a stud on my turbo manifold after fixing threads and it was so crooked and would not go on. So I don't want that same thing to happen here. And yep, it looks like it's gonna happen if I keep going there. It's a little bit off angle. This right here is what experience looks like. You went through something and you don't want to go through it again. So how do I not go through it again? Take as many steps possible so that it doesn't happen. If I wouldn't have lined this cam tray up, I would have definitely sank that tap in sideways. And as you can see right there, that tap is lined up dead center with that bolt hole to make sure this does not move at all. I am fitting it up upside down, but as long as it fits. Now I can take the actual helicoil insert, drop it onto here with that tang downwards, and I'll be able to run it in. I am gonna put a drop of blue Loctite on the outside of this helicoil. Yes, there it is. Let's go. I did not want this little tang to go flying, but there it is. I just wanted to make sure I fished that little piece of metal out of there. Got him. Moment of truth. Imagine this isn't the right thread pitch. I just elbowed the engine. Damn, I'm such an idiot though. I put an M6 by 1.0 helicoil in, but this stud is an M7 by 1.0. Damn it, I should have known because M6 by 1.0 are 10 millimeter bolts. M7 by 1.0 is 11 millimeter, and these are 11 millimeter. I put coolant on those O-rings. Now to remove that wrong size helicoil that's in there, these are my favorite extractors, the square ones with the flutes. Anytime you have a broken bolt, you drill a hole in the bolt and get this in there. I've always had really good luck with these. And instead of the M6 helicoil, got the M7s. Yeah. Jet like that. So now I can do the same thing, get this M7 helicoil in. Drill, tap, insert. It's in there. Now let's see if the stud is straight. I'm just gonna snug it up barely like how I did on the other ones. Now is the moment of truth. Will the cam tray still slide on? Yes! Yes! Let's go! Look at that stud peeking through. Let's go! I must have drilled a little material out when I was doing the drilling because I bottomed it out and it's a little short now. So I'm gonna fix that real quick. Let's go! All the intake studs are seated and they're all flush. I have the crank at top dead center as well with the cam timing blocks on. So I want this bolt hole to be as far left as possible. There it is. So when the engine is spinning, that's hitting on that gear and it's not gonna loosen up. Nice. Since this gear spins with the Vanos, I am gonna put assembly lube between it. Got an old timing chain tensioner with, I believe, 7 pennies in there. You gotta double check that if you wanna use that, but I'm pretty sure it's just hand tight. Yeah, because it already feels like it has so much tension with just hand tight. Now I can put the Vanos on, get these tight. That's at 10 Newton meters, and the engine is timed. Make sure that this top chain is all the way to the right. Get these teeth lined up as close as I can. I need this Vanos gear to get pulled in the instant I move the chain. Yep, see, I got a little movement there and it didn't grab. I didn't see if that was instantly up. I pulled too hard. That was not the instant. Come on. Dude, it's like, there it is. The instant I moved it, it moved. Let's go. I did all that and I didn't put the gasket between the Vanos. Tough. That's why it felt wrong. There we go. The engine is all the way timed. I can take this out and change it with the real tensioner. Oil pan's officially on. This is the only way to turn the engine over when I'm by myself. Ugh. I'm not putting any RTV on there because I'm gonna have to take this valve cover off after the first heat cycle. Good to go. This turbo manifold was so warped, so I came to my dad's shop where he has this big belt sander, grinding it down, getting it nice and flat. Damn it! See, I knew this was possible, but I still did it anyways, because I wanted to save some time. This is the only flat part here, so this much of the manifold was just caving into this. And rounding it over more. It's way worse now. Holy fuck. It's way worse now. This whole thing is so warped. Oh my god. I need a mill to do this. This is... This wiring harness has always been pretty bulky and stiff. Like these wires right here are so stiff and they just look so ugly. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up and get some Tesa tape on everything. Like this thing, I'm gonna cut it all off. Get the whole thing in Tesa tape and I'm sure it's gonna be packaged a lot nicer than this. I'm really glad that I'm coming in and cleaning up this wiring harness because the wiring to my MAF sensor was dangling and got dragged on the floor and got ripped up and just destroyed. So a bunch of wires were just bare and exposed for a few months, probably, I don't even know, maybe a year. And it pulled the sheathing all the way back to this junction right here, which this junction looks like a 12 volt junction. And this was allowing corrosion to come into that circuit, which That's just not good. This was a casualty waiting to happen inside of my wiring harness. This was all the way inside that big bundle. So this is the blessing in disguise that I came in to do this. I'm gonna just cut this wire right here and join all these 3 wires together to bypass that whole concoction. But that is not good. Making sure that you inspect everything is like the biggest thing that I'm learning right now. Just the harder you inspect, the more you're gonna find and the more you're gonna have to fix. But I'd much rather fix this than have my car catch on fire. Any wires that I'm not using, I'm just cutting it because this car is at its final setup with the ECU and everything. I'm not going back to stock ECU, so I don't need this, nor do I need that junction right there. These crimps should be as strong as the wire when they're done. So you should be able to pull on it as hard as you can and nothing happen. There we go, successfully deleted the MAF wire. These are the 3 that went to the MAF, and then this is the power. This is so much better. I am so glad I did this. There we go, all cleaned up, reduced as much as I need it to, and it looks so much better. All that extra plastic was just so bulky. It's not going in the trash. Let's go. If I wouldn't have warped my turbo manifold, don't think I would have done this because I just wanted to get it in the car as soon as possible. But this absolutely 100% had to happen. Let's go. The machine shop was able to mount this fully on the mill, which that's like the biggest thing. If they can get this mounted without vibrating like crazy, then they're able to work on it. And they were able to. Now this manifold is way better than when it was even brand new. There's absolutely no kind of warping or gap between the flange. Now I can install this with no RTV on the exhaust flange and it should seal 100% because of this. I'm so excited. I think these MLS gaskets are gonna seal so nicely now. Just some OEM E36 gaskets. I always struggle so hard to get these engine mount arms into the engine mounts, but I have finally found the technique. You take the engine mount arm off of the passenger side since it wants to lean so much this way. So you just let it lean this way, get that mount arm in, and then mount up this engine mount arm loosely, get this jack in through the front because there's just barely enough space to fit the jack in here. Under the exhaust manifold, jack it up. Good to go. So easy. This was so much faster than all the other times when I leave that mount arm on the passenger side. I did not realize that my intercooler boot off of my turbo was touching my exhaust manifold, and this is definitely why the car felt a little slow right when the engine lost oil pressure. Since I'm not really trying to deal with welding a cast aluminum 90 to the turbo, since I want a new turbo, a better turbo, I just heat wrapped the header a little bit to hopefully prevent any more burning through, but I am going to try and get it as far away from that header as possible. Oh God. This downpipe was always leaking around this flange, so I'm getting this all sanded down, and you can see the little bit of difference it makes. The shiny metal is all high spots, and low spots is where it hasn't touched yet. So once it's all shiny, then you know that it's all flat. But you need a 100% true surface, like a piece of granite or thick glass like this is, to be able to do this.
Yeah, put your back into it.
A few minutes later, the gap is getting much smaller. My sandpaper doled out at this point, so I'm just gonna leave it because I really want to just start the car. Oh, now that the engine is in, the windows fucking work, dude.
Damn.
While the engine was out, I wanted to get the windows up so bad and it wouldn't work.
Oh, really?
Because I think the starter grounds the wires or some stupid. I thought maybe it should go higher, but I guess 8 PSI is all it's gonna make. Alright, now I'm gonna get the spark plugs in.
Alright.
Here we go. Now's the moment we have all been waiting for. I sped through the last section because we just want to see this car driving. That's the whole premise of this video being so long. It was half of a crank, bro.
Jesus.
It started in half a crank. I guess. Yeah, that's the heat wrap that I put on the header. That's fucking cool! Dude, I am so fired up because I put this all together as if it worked. So if it didn't, that would suck. Everything is zip tied, everything is tucked away nicely so that I don't have to mess with it again.
Great success.